Welcome back to the channel. If you value honest reporting and real numbers, especially on issues that actually matter, then stick around. Before we dive into today's eye-opening report, don't forget to join the channel membership, support us through Super Thanks, let the ads play for at least 30 seconds to help us out, subscribe, like, share, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Let's keep this conversation going. Your voice counts. Now, let's talk about crime in South Africa. Not feelings, not spin, facts, numbers, real people affected. And yes, we'll talk about white South Africans, minorities, particularly Afrikaners. Because when it comes to being statistically targeted, you can't argue against the hard data. Let's start with the bloody facts on violent crime. South Africa's murder rate is now at a grotesque 44 per 100,000 people as of 2023. For context, that's more than 8 times higher than the global average. Did that sink in? In other words, South Africa's murder rate was 8 times higher than the global average as of 2023. Right there. During just the last quarter of 2023, about 85 people were murdered every single day. That's a murder every 17 minutes. In total, over 500,000 people have been murdered in South Africa since 1994, when the country supposedly transformed into a free and safe democracy. Farm attacks? Oh yes, let's talk about those. Since 1994, there have been more than 13,000 farm attacks, with over 2,000 farmers brutally murdered. Many of them elderly white citizens, some tortured, raped, or mutilated. Between 2010 and 2023, farm murders averaged around 70% per year. That might seem small until you realize farm residents are 4 times more likely to be murdered than the average South African. Yes, 4 times. But we're told not to talk about that, lest we be called fearmongers. Funny how the truth becomes a taboo when it makes people uncomfortable. Sexual violence? Brace yourself. Over 65,000 rapes and sexual assaults are reported every year, 127.6 per 100,000 people. Some studies suggest 1 in 3 women have been raped. In one survey, 25% of men admitted to rape, with half of them saying they had raped more than once. And get this, nearly 700 babies were born to mothers aged 9 or 10 in 2020. That's not just a statistic, it's a societal collapse. Let's not forget the broader bloodbath. Gang violence has turned cities like Cape Town and Durban into no-go zones, complete with daily shootings, drive-by executions, and mob justice incidents. In 2020-21 alone, over 1,350 people were murdered in mob justice incidents. Gang-related assassinations? Check. Extortion rackets? Check. And if you're a paramedic, better wear a bulletproof vest. Cape Town had over 60 attacks on paramedics in a single year. But yes, please tell us again how crime is just a legacy issue. And then there's the roads. Vehicle hijackings increased over 100% in some regions during the 2010s. In 2019-20, there were 1,202 truck hijackings. Hijacking gangs dressed like police install blue lights and ambush motorists. Smash and grab, spike traps, cement bombs, you name it. And what about the taxi wars? Hundreds killed annually in turf disputes. Bus drivers executed. Passengers caught in the crossfire. Still think it's just about transportation issues? Now let's pull the curtain on corruption. The SAPS, South Africa's police, has been described by a DA parliamentarian as rotten to the core. Over 996 million rands in irregular expenditures in 2018-19. Internal sabotage, ghost workers, missing firearms, some sold directly to gangs. Even 2 SAPS colonels sold 5,000 guns to Cape gangs. The result? More murders, more crime, less accountability. By 2021, 1,407 of Gauteng's 5,781 police vehicles were out of service. That's nearly 25%. and 3 to 4 detectives sharing one vehicle to attend crime scenes. Don't forget the DNA backlog, 117,000 unprocessed samples. Bulletproof vests, not enough. Toxicology reports, a decade behind. But you're supposed to believe the system works. The South African police had one officer for every 250 people in 2010. By 2022, that number had fallen to 1 per 450. At some rural stations, there are no phones, no fax machines, sometimes no electricity. Meanwhile, senior officers receive promotions without merit. 22% of them in 2018 to 2019 were promoted regardless of performance. But of course, you can't criticize that. Equity, right? Corruption isn't limited to the police. Parastatals like Eskom, Denel and Transnet were gutted during the infamous state capture years. The Eskom pension fund lost 20 billion rands in the Steinhoff collapse. Billions more were looted through tender fraud, payroll scams, and ghost employees. By 2020, municipalities owed Eskom over 46 billion rands, with some refusing to pay even after court orders. Theft and sabotage of infrastructure cost South Africa an estimated 100 billion rands annually. Overhead railway cables, 2/3 stolen by 2021. Municipal infrastructure like copper cables, manhole covers and streetlights stripped clean. Some cities lose millions annually just due to cable theft. Cape Town cut its losses from 22 million rand to under 500,000 rand with a dedicated theft unit. So yes, it's fixable if you want to fix it. Let's return to white and Afrikaner communities. These minority groups disproportionately bear the brunt of violence in rural areas. Afrikaner farmers face targeted killings that often involve unimaginable brutality, beatings, torture, even burning. Women and the elderly are frequent victims. Yet the government refuses to classify these attacks as priority crimes or hate crimes. Not worth the paperwork, apparently. Add to that economic marginalization, BEE policies, affirmative action, and quota systems effectively bar white South Africans from equal opportunity in the public sector. In many municipalities, unqualified staff are appointed due to political affiliations, not merit. The results? Poor service delivery, budgetary waste, and growing resentment. The country loses out, and so does the entire economy. So, let's ask the obvious. Who benefits from this chaos? It's certainly not the average law-abiding citizen, white, black, colored, or Indian, and it's definitely not the farmers who feed the nation. It's the corrupt elites, the gangs, the syndicates, and the indifferent bureaucrats who get rich while ordinary people live in fear, behind barbed wire and bulletproof glass. South Africa doesn't just have a crime problem, it has a collapse problem, and the statistics don't lie. If this video brought some facts to light for you, support our work. Join the channel membership, drop a super thanks to help us keep going, and let those ads run for at least 30 seconds. Every cent helps us push back against silence. Like, share, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. We read every single one. See you in the next one. Stay safe, stay smart, stay strong.